Hey, welcome back to the Misfit Minute. Don't forget to subscribe and like and follow so that we can continue to present these for you. I created a graphic this week as I was thinking about the difference between skill and motivation. And so I created a graphic that I'm going to share for today's Misfit Minute. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see this. If you're not watching on YouTube, you're just listening, then go to the show notes and I'll add the link there where to get this. But I was thinking about the different students and, well, my own children over the years that I've had, trying to figure out if a behavior is the evidence of something they're not able to do, a skill deficit, or if it's something they're not motivated to do, they don't want to do, which would be a motivation deficit, so to speak. And so I created a graphic. Let me share it now. Okay, so I hope you can see this. What I wanted to do is visually present a way to our staff and everybody that works with our students can figure out if we're seeing a behavior, really drilling down into why it's happening. We talk about why and the function of behavior all the time. But really, it comes down to a can't or a won't. Are we needing to teach a skill, something they can or can't do? Or do we need to adjust the motivation to get them something they want to do, want to participate in, to make that behavior decrease or behavior increase if that's what you need? And so on the top, you'll see it's basically a T-chart. So on the top, we have skill. And skill goes from I can do something all the way to I can't. And again, it's not a can or can't. Sometimes you can fall in between. So you need to gauge that with your learner. But your skill goes from either you can do something, you're a mastery of it, you're successful at it, you can do it in many settings across different people, or it's something you can't do. You either haven't been taught the skill or it's something you're not quite ready to master, or there's a bunch of prerequisite skills you need to work on. So that's all across the x-axis. And then down the side on the y-axis, I have motivation. And that can go from something they want to do, whether they're motivated to do the skill internally or there's an external motivation that gets them want to do it. So it goes from want all the way down to won't. Like, I have the skill, but I don't want to. Is that I'm not motivated to do it. I don't want to do it. So talking about the 4 quadrants of this T-chart, let's start with upper left. So you'd have high skill, high motivation. And that I would call the engaged student. And the little character here is saying, I want to and I can. So a student who has the skill and is motivated to present the skill, you're going to have low behaviors in this quadrant. You have an engaged student. So here you're going to reinforce and extend the learning. You're going to challenge with next level skills. You're going to work on new things, build upon that. You're going to encourage more independence. So that's what you're going to do in that engaged student who has a high skill and high motivation. Then if you move to the right a little bit, you get into the skill deficit where the student can't do it even if they're motivated. So this little character saying, I want to, but I can't. So we have a student who's frustrated in this quadrant. They can't do it even if they're motivated. So here you're going to look at breaking down the skill into smaller parts that they can master. You're going to scaffold your task, you're going to break it down and teach you very systematically, providing modeling and visuals and all of the things that help learn a skill. I think this is a really good time to look at your task analyses and make sure that you have all those prerequisite skills, all those little itty bitty skills that build up to doing the whole thing independently. And always celebrate those small wins. So when you're in this frustrated quadrant, your learner really wants to do it. And so make sure every little step towards that independence and that skill is celebrated and motivation is there for them, that they're earning what they're working for, or they just feel good about themselves. So make sure you build that into that. Then if you look down a little bit into the next quadrants, you have a high skill but low motivation, and we call that the avoidant learner. So the character here is saying, I can, but I won't. So your learner here is they can do it, but they're not motivated. We have a lot of students that kind of fall into this quadrant. So here you're going to increase your motivation and internal, external, whatever you can do to get them motivated to present the skill. Also look at, is this a skill that I'm expecting that they're bored with? Is this something we can increase the expectation of what they're doing? I've had that a lot in students who are very, very bright, and we're expecting them to do things that are kind of below their skill set, and it's not an independent thing anymore. It's just like, okay, I've done this a million times, I'm bored. So you might get behaviors out of that. So kind of work into that. Use choices, give them opportunities to take ownership and be independent and just be more independent. and make those tasks that you're asking them to do meaningful, present them as much as possible into a real world situation so they can see why they're doing the skill, why it's important, and how it benefits them, how it makes them feel better and more independent. And you can also look at trying different motivation, try adding different reinforcement, try something new, be silly, have fun, make this something they then move away from the defiant kind of, I don't want to, into something fun and I want to participate and be a part of it. Use peers as part of this too. It's like a lot of our little learners like to do what their friends are doing and be with their peers. So bring that into it, make it a group activity. So those are some things you can do in that quadrant. Then the fourth quadrant would be what I call the resistant learner. So it's a student who can't do the skill yet, but also wouldn't do it even if they could. So the character here is saying, I don't want to, but I can't anyway. So you have that resistant. It doesn't matter. I don't have the skill. I don't want to do it. I'm checked out. And so here you want to really start small. You're building trust. You're pairing learning with fun. You're teaching those pre-skills and motivating them to do skills maybe they already know how to do, but to build that positive momentum with them. Reducing the demands, you bring choice back into this. Here, you're really building that trust circle with the student to get them past that, I don't want to. And then we can move into building the skill set itself. So I think when you have a resistant learner, to really focus on that resistant attitude first rather than the skill. So kind of break the skill way down so it's super easy for them to learn those first steps, because you're going to increase the motivation such that you get rid of that kind of defiant feeling underneath so that they enjoy the learning process. And so the last little bit on the graphic says behavior equals skill plus motivation. So it's really that upper left corner where you have, I can do the skill and I want to do the skill. We want all of our learners into that quadrant so that they're being successful and they're enjoying their learning time. And they see that learning is a lifelong endeavor. I think it's really important also that we as staff show them that we're learning too. So we get frustrated. There's things that we can't do. Make sure you're building that into some of your teaching with your learners. So that's today's Misfit Minute. If you like it, please subscribe and check us out on our Facebook group, the Misfit Behaviorists. And again, if you're seeing this on YouTube, you can also look in the show notes there and get the actual graphic that I made. And then if you're just listening to it on podcast or wherever, check the show notes and you can get it there. And we will see you next time.